Hello, welcome to the world today. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Here's what's coming up within the half hour. People said to be trapped in a mall hit by the 7.1 magnitude earthquake in Japan. Firefighters in France still battling a significant flare-up in a coastal area west of Bordeaux. And Ghana demands arrests and prosecutions over the killings of 2 nationals in South Africa. Let's begin the world today. A search is on for survivors at the Aeon Mall in Kumamoto in Japan, where several people are said to have been trapped underneath the rubble. Several people are also said to be missing at a paper factory in the region. This follows a 7.1 magnitude earthquake that hit the area this morning. Currently, more than 40,000 households are without power in the aftermath of the quake. Residents in Hikawa town are reporting water and electricity outages, although local broadcaster NHK says water and power outages are affecting a wide area within the town. The Kumamoto prefecture is no stranger to earthquakes and has been hit by powerful ones in the past. In 2016, the prefecture was struck by a series of earthquakes. These included a magnitude 6.5, which hit the town of Mashiki on April 14, and a magnitude 7.3, which struck the same area 2 days later. According to Japan's public broadcaster, 278 people were killed by those earthquakes in Kumamoto and in the neighboring Oita prefecture. Tremors from today's 7.1 magnitude earthquake caused historic walls at the 17th century built Kumamoto Castle to tumble. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi has urged residents to evacuate and protect themselves. There have been reports of injuries, fires, power cuts, and damage to roads, bridges, and buildings. In an address earlier today, she told the public, "While we're still confirming the extent of casualties and property damage, we have received reports of injuries, power outages, fires, and damage to roads, bridges, and buildings. Above all, please take action to protect yourselves, such as evacuating to a safe location." A tsunami advisory was in force for the Ariake Yasushiro seas during the briefing, warning of possible waves of around 1 meter. She said ministries had been ordered to assess the damage, work closely with local authorities, and prioritize rescue and life-saving operations. A Cabinet Office assessment team has also been sent to the affected areas. To those wildfires now in France, the Bordeaux authorities are reporting firefighters are battling a significant flare-up in a coastal area west of Bordeaux. Residents in Bordeaux say that it will feel apocalyptic once again as the wind changes and the heat of the wildfires and heat wave is felt again. Firefighters are facing a David against Goliath battle against a fire in Gironde, which is 15 kilometers from Bordeaux, the French city, which has been blanketed in smoke and an eerie orange-tinted haze. But firefighters there say there is no threat to the city, at least just yet. And on Monday, President Emmanuel Macron paid tribute to the firefighters and emergency crews battling the devastating wildfires, describing the current fire season as the worst, toughest situation the country has experienced since the Second World War. Well, he met with firefighters and emergency personnel in Gironde, where he thanked those involved in firefighting and evacuation efforts and paid tribute to 2 firefighters who recently lost their lives in the line of duty, telling them the country owes you a great deal. He told emergency responders, saying the entire nation stood behind them and the families of the fallen firefighters. In his words, "I want to reaffirm here the entire nation's support for them and for all of you, and I especially want to thank you because in the hours that followed, you took action without hesitation. You answered the call." Macron said more than 1,500 military personnel have been deployed alongside firefighters. He praised police officers, gendarmes, farmers, and civil protection teams for helping protect communities threatened by the flames. He also highlighted European support, noting that France had received assistance from partner countries through the EU's civil protection mechanism, including firefighting, aircraft, and equipment. Joining us now is wine expert and consultant Chinedu Rosa. She lives near Bordeaux. Chinedu, thank you for speaking with us at this really trying time for France. How are you dealing with, first of all, the extreme heat coming from the wildfires? Because I imagine, that it's much hotter than it usually would be in the summer.
Well, Amarachi, it's been honestly incredibly hot. We have never seen this kind of heat before in Bordeaux. Bordeaux is actually in the center of the Gironde. And the coastal side, like you said, at the most, we get about 40 degrees. And in this season, we have gotten as high as 47 degrees. This is unprecedented. And right now, as I speak to you, we have had a respite for a couple of days because the weather has kind of reduced. But the heat has been horrific. And for those who live close to the coastal areas, we're talking about Biscarrosse, Cap Ferret, Arcachon. It's been infernal. The heat, the fire, the blaze has been non-stop. And I have to tell you, um, this is where the firemen and the brave women and men of the pompiers, like we call them here, they have been extremely courageous in fighting the fires. The blazes come up in a second. And in 1 minute, you see a house standing. The next minute, the house is ablaze and gone. So it is I've never seen anything like this before.
Well, it sounds really terrifying when you're describing that in a minute you see a house standing, the next minute it is gone. Firefighters have been battling what they called a significant flare up along the coastal area that you've been describing. Is that hitting close to where you are, and will you be waiting for further instructions from the government, or will you be evacuating?
Well, we are right in the center of the city. Like I said, Bordeaux is the capital of the Gironde area. And unfortunately, all around the coastal, not just the Gironde, we're talking about the way the Gironde and Bordeaux area is shaped. It's like a shoe. So the fire has come from the left and also from the right. So we are right in the middle, and we are waiting. I have my bags packed. My children have their bags packed. We have our passports. We have families in France that we can move to. But we're staying still because there is a huge problem with people who have moved out, have been evacuated. So we living in the city that are relatively safe, we are standing still because we need to help those who are coming into the city. We are giving rooms, shelter, food, water. Everybody's trying to contribute as much as they can. We cannot just run away. This is our home. But if it becomes imperative to move, I think the whole city is ready, hopefully. But we have to take mind that they have young people, and then we do have people who are maybe disabled and they don't have families. So I think this is something that the mayor here understands. That's why we are all. He's calling the city to gather together and try to face this together as a group, as a unit. So we are not moving for now. Luckily, like I said, last weekend the weather had cooled down. But unfortunately, the weather is going to come back. It's going to become very hot again tomorrow. But the firemen, like I said, and everybody, I mean everybody in the neighborhood, people are making sure they check on neighbors. They have water on the standby. We have our farmers coming into the city, going to help the firemen. I think this is what makes this. It's such a disastrous situation, but the way people have come together and face it as a common enemy has really, really been. It's been amazing for me. It's really inspiring to see the way people are helping each other. And I think that's why most people have not left town, because we are helping other people that have
Yeah.
been evacuated. So if we all leave, who is going to help maybe somebody who cannot even move, you know? So
Yeah.
I think we're staying still for now. We're staying still.
Yeah, I can understand that, and do commend you and the others who are, staying behind to help those who are not able to help themselves. But in the meantime, what are you doing to protect your property? I know
Yeah.
that you do have vineyards in the area all over Bordeaux, and you're producing wines, and I'm sure that, there's, some fear as regards what will happen to your fields. Will they be destroyed by the fires?
Well, I work as a consultant for a lot of wineries all around Bordeaux. There are some wineries that have already been affected. Um, it's unfortunate, you can fear, but you cannot stop the inevitable. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. We are just hoping that with the precautions and the actions taken already by the firefighters and the farmers, like I said, we've had farmers come from outside Bordeaux with water tanks to help farmers here and people with properties. And so the properties outside the border city, a lot of care has been taken for people to stand guard and take precautions immediately when they see fire. But of course, a lot of properties will be lost. We do not know the extent. For now, there has been 42,000 hectares lost to this fire, and of course, there are vineyards included. But since we are on the right and right bank and closer to the city, my partners, have not been affected directly, but we have to wait till this is over for us to find out what has really happened and who has been affected. Um, it's called a natural disaster for a reason. There is nothing we human beings can do about it. It's a super inferno. I mean, in blaze, it's incredible. I can't even describe it. We can look at the pictures, we can look at the videos, and we are disturbed. But if you were there, you see animals, beautiful deers, and animals just running out from the forest. And this is what I love about being in this part of the country, or the world, is even the animals are being taken care of because they are part of the ecosystem. And the grapes, the vineyards, the farmers, everybody is finding a way to just work together and see how we can overcome this. We would not know the total cost
Yeah.
till we beat this fire. So we are hoping. We're just hoping.
Yeah, we're also hoping with you, Chinedu, you and all the other farmers and vineyard owners, as well as winemakers who are there in Bordeaux and the Gironde County. Thank you so much for speaking with us. We
Thank
do
you so
hope you
much.
are
Thank
safe.
you for talking about this. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Chinedu Rosa in Bordeaux. Now, there are also major wildfires in Spain, where Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez says there is light at the end of the tunnel. He, however, warns the country not to let its guard down, as a new heat wave will make the firefighting effort more difficult. Military emergencies and crews and firefighters are tackling the fire line with hoses and hand tools, while tracked bulldozers are carving fire breaks throughout the landscapes. Thousands of residents have been forced from their homes as the flames spread through parts of Sierra de Espanda, the natural park in the area. Around 6,000 people returned to 4 neighborhoods in Valdeggio, but about 10,000 remain displaced as of this morning. Light winds and higher humidity overnight gave crews a chance to strengthen containment lines. However, the fire remains uncontrolled with a perimeter of around 72 kilometers. Officials have have continued to review evacuation and confinement orders as firefighters monitor the conditions. We'll take a break now on The World Today. Still ahead. More stories from around the world, but particularly on the weather. It's been hot in several parts of the world, experiencing the summer. Let's see how Japan is taking care of those affected by the heat wave. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching The World Today. We shift our attention now to the immigration crisis in South Africa, as Ghana's Foreign Minister Samuel Ablakwa calls for the arrest and prosecution of those responsible for the killings of 2 Ghanaian nationals in the country. Mr. Ablakwa made a call as Ghana enters its latest phase of voluntary repatriations of nationals from South Africa. He says Accra would continue talks with Pretoria, but urges South African authorities to clamp down on those behind the violence.
Let's hold a minute silence to remember our 2 brothers who died in South Africa, coming under attacks, killed by unknown assailants. We are still demanding justice, and we have written to the South African authorities that the 2 Ghanaians who have been killed, Mr. Bashiru Isaac and Mr. Kojo Eji, their killing must not be covered up. There has to be justice, and we will continue to demand thorough investigations, arrests, and prosecution of those who killed our beloved 2 compatriots, Mr. Bashiru Isaac, whose body we have received, and Mr. Kojoinji, whose body we are yet to receive.
Meanwhile, South Africa says Nigerians who lost businesses and properties during the xenophobic attacks can still pursue legal ownership of those assets, provided they can establish proof of ownership. The Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of South Africa, Roland Lamola, was in Nigeria recently. He gave the assurance during a media briefing after a closed-door meeting with Nigeria's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Shola Enikolai, in Abuja.
As Nigeria and South Africa continue efforts to deepen diplomatic and economic relations, the lingering impact of xenophobic attacks on Nigerians remains a key issue. This meeting between the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs and the South African envoy is part of ongoing engagements aimed at seeking lasting solutions to the issue and also preserving one of Africa's most strategic bilateral relationships.
From 2022 alone, 98 Nigerians have died in mob actions, in hate-related actions that we have called Afrophobia, because we found that the preponderant victims of this ugly situation are Africans.
Nigeria and South Africa have a shared responsibility to respond to these challenges within the African continent of migration. Across the continent, migration remains a huge challenge that all of us have to work together to address.
The meeting then goes into a closed-door session. Sometime later, both ministers briefed the media. The South African envoy reaffirms the country's commitment to continuous engagement to de-escalating the crisis. On issues of abandoned assets and properties belonging to Nigerians, he assures that all hope is not lost.
The 2 countries will have to engage in a robust manner, but it must be measured. The public rhetoric must be de-escalated to enable us to zoom into the challenges. And in this regard, there is an early warning mechanism that the 2 countries are at an advanced stage of negotiating, which will enable us to deal with the early warning signs of the reoccurrence of this protest and the violence in particular. What I can state is that in terms of South African law, anyone who has their properties or who has their assets, there is a legal way for them to claim whatever property that might have been taken by anyone. So the procedures and the processes in the South African legal system enable such a process to unfold. But there was no discussion now, and there's no agreement. But if there is any Nigerian national who has a property, the property is in their name, it remains in their name until it has been legally and officially transferred to any other person.
For many Nigerians affected by the xenophobic violence, the promise of legal recourse may not erase the trauma and losses of the past. Still, it offers a renewed opportunity to pursue justice through established legal channels. From Abuja, Victoria Longjohn, Channels Television News.
And as we bring the program to a close, in a unique response to soaring summer temperatures, a company in Gunma, Japan, has unveiled an innovative cooling solution, the Dohaemon box, affectionately dubbed the human refrigerator. It's designed to counter extreme heat waves resulting from rising global temperatures. The Dohaemon box is a single-person cooling booth intended to protect outdoor laborers, factory workers, and the general public from the dangers of heat stroke. Well, the compact booth, which resembles a vending machine or a telephone box, is in the lobby, inside or outside. Users sit in a built-in bench while adjustable nozzles direct 5 degrees Celsius air towards the head, neck, and shoulders. The booth is kept at around 15 degrees Celsius with an automatic 20-minute shutoff to prevent overcooling. Built from sheet metal and mounted on caster wheels, the booth can be moved between workplaces and public places. A refrigeration compressor is at its base produces a cold air, while thick insulation keeps it trapped inside. Japan regularly experiences summer temperatures above 35 degrees Celsius, with some reaching 40 degrees Celsius in some areas. The meteorological agency calls days at or above 40 degrees Celsius kushobi, meaning cruelly hot days it could be experiencing. Or anything to stay cool this summer, they should come to Lagos. We have lots of rain here. Thanks for watching The World Today. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Well, some information for our viewers on the DSTV platform. In place of sports at 6 will be a documentary on Firma Road Renew, just for our viewers on the DSTV platform. For others, sports news is up next.